Hello, hashtag Verse TV family. Yes. Hmm. Hey, everything. And welcome. It's hashtag Verse TV Round 2. And yes, Round 2. Hashtag Verse TV Round 2. Yes. And I'm Aaron Mack. And I wanted to introduce myself and oh, this is giving me a really hard time just because it like wants to be complicated for no reason, but there we go. Okay, so yes, my name is Aaron Mack, and what we're doing a little bit differently now is giving one unique thing or one thing about us that we wanted to share with the world, whatever it is. And in being forthright with the hashtag Verse TV family, I wanted to share the fact that I am currently not forever, experiencing some very complicated situations that are like pounding me down. But there are sprinkles, big sprinkles of hope that I have in spite of. After 17 years, yes, 17 years with one company, my company said, Aaron, we are moving to Mexico, and you know that, you knew that, but you gotta go. And I was like, oh my gosh, but okay. Actually, the company is not moving to Mexico, but my department is moving to Mexico. Anyway, that on top of the fact that I know there are a lot of people there are people in the world who have a problem with me and want to see me fail, particularly because I'm gay and happily in love. And because of their understanding of God, they do not want that level of happiness for me. They feel people are people, and it is what it is. And I, again, in the words of Queen Beyonce and Kelly and Queens, Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle, I'm a survivor. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to work harder. Yes. Yes, I am. I'm a survivor. Survivor. Thank you. Very much thank you. And
And all right, hi buddy. This is basic complexity. Or I can even sometimes go by my birth name, Kevin, and I'm from that. Um, and one thing that was definitely interesting about me that over the years I kind of forgot about till this being years ago. I was speaking with my mom and she mentioned that as a kid I used to be ambidextrous, and I, to be told, I didn't know what that meant at first. So yeah, I had to research. Google was my friend that day. And I learned that it was people, and it is somewhat not very common, but it's somewhat common. Um, or actually, it might not be that common, but there are people like that, and people like myself. Like I noticed, and thinking back, I was very young, and when I was in first grade, I started to realize Yeah, what I would do doing classwork, I'd be writing with one hand, and when that one hand got tired, I just switched to the other one, and I had no problem doing that. But I did end up becoming strictly right-handed because all the other kids were, and I didn't want to be the oddball. So yeah, that was just an interesting fact about myself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cato. An interesting thing about me, I suppose, is that I am a pet dad. I have three pets. I have a cat. His name is Poseidon. I have a dog. Her name is Luna. And I have a turtle. And his name is Mr. T. So around Cato Land, I am the head of household and the dad of three pets.
Outstanding. Yes, let's do this. And in moving forward, we are right here for the rando TV, hashtag rando TV, where we're doing the random question that will be led by Cato. And this it's coming from Random Questions in a Box. And this is from the We Just Met section of Questions in a Box. And as I talk, trying to give time for it to come up, I will say the randomly selected question is, why do people enjoy movies with good endings? Take it away.
Why do people enjoy movies with good endings? Um, I think it's because people like to be happy. You want to walk away from something with that feel good, that warmth, where you can just say, you know what, that was a really good movie. It was cute. Is what I would often say. So I think that is probably um, why people enjoy those types of movies. And I am going to have Aaron Mack go next.
All right. I feel that people enjoy such movies because at the end of the day, people are people, and of those that enjoy it, and I'd like to think that most people do, or at least most people can get a good feeling from good movies. And hi, Dave the QT, by the way. Hey, friend. I feel that people like happiness. People want to be happy. And that was a hit song when we were a little bit younger, because I'm happy. Like I think people just want to be happy. At the end of the oh my gosh, at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is for so many of us. People just want to be happy.
All right, now basic complexity. What you got for us?
All right. Well, regarding movies having happy endings, and I'm cool with that. But at the same time, I don't mean to sound negative, but I'm kind of being realistic here. Everything is not always happy go lucky, the sunshine ending. So try, I try, definitely try to be as realistic as possible. And I realize you don't always get the happy ending. I mean, granted, yes, that's what we want, but is that always what happens? No.
Oh, we have Dave the QT. He gave us a comment. He said, "I think they like the payoff factor," which I agree too. You kind of want things to wrap up and to kind of end nicely, and the bad guy loses and the good guy wins, and then everything kind of wraps up nicely.
I mean, I wish life was like that, but it's not.
It still can be. This isn't the end of your movie yet, so you might still get that
That
happy ending.
very
Yes.
true.
Oh, Kato, I love that. I love that you said that. Absolutely. Yes. It's not the end of the movie because we are survivors. We're not going to give up. We're not going to stop. We're going to work harder. Anyway, let me stop. But yes. All right. Absolutely. And great job, Kato. And now you can take it away for our hashtag Tune TV.
So the song that I chose is oh, I need to see how to spell her name because I don't know how to spell her name. But the song is called Light Year, and it's by an artist. Her first name is Christine, and her last name is spelled Elezaj. So it's kind of a an interesting name. I don't want to butcher it, so I'm not even going to try it. But I think it's a really beautiful song. I actually found it because an artist that I like, she recorded she recorded um the what is it called, the demo for the song, and I really liked this demo, and I was like searching and searching to try to find the full version of the song, and then I realized that it wound up going to another artist. But I think it's a really beautiful song, kind of a sad song, but it's beautiful in its sadness. Looks like David Cutie says, I don't mind rooting for the bad guy, but it needs to make sense in the end. And I agree with that too. So who has the next song? Oh,
Well, the way we're
congratulations.
doing it, we'll all give a quick comment on this each song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I will go with basic complexity next.
Okay, and you have to forgive me. I know the two songs I was gonna choose. One, I'll say, and this will sound ancient, but it's not. One from the
A-
19th.
Actually, you're commenting on Cato's song "Light Years" by Christine
Oh,
E.
I thank you.
Since you listened to it,
Yeah, obviously. And when listening to the song, I realized, yeah, I actually like that song.
me.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely first time hearing it, but I liked it.
same here, and I'll say I love. Well, I love the beat and the melody,
Yep.
and I love the fact that she had a bridge in the song, which is like unheard of in popular music now, it seems.
Right.
And not only that, but she belted out of the bridge. Yes. Anyway, okay, that's me. Our next, oh, and you still get to manage this transition, Kato.
Okay, so our next song is gonna be by Basic Complexity. And looks like you chose Tatiana Ali. What song did you choose by her?
All right, that song by Tatiana Ali, which I believe was her second single, was called "Boy You Knocked Me Out." Um, and that features actually, and it shouldn't be a huge surprise, Will Smith, her co-star from the First Prince of Bel-Air. Um, and yeah, I like the song, and it was interesting because when Will Smith came in and he was doing this little rap section, he mentioned that they were co-stars on the Fresh Prince, and I thought that was interesting.
I thought that was cute too.
And I'll say I have loved that song for years. That was my
Yeah,
favorite. That was her second single off of that album, if I recall. And
yeah, thank
Will
you.
Smith
Right.
was, I'm sorry?
So I think you're right.
Yeah. And Will Smith was fine then, and he is still now. And I will say this, I didn't see it for Will Smith back in the day, but I will
All right,
say that
right.
he has grown up and he's so beautiful as a grown and gray man. And
He's
that,
aged well.
yeah, and that's caused me to look back and be like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't see it for him back then, but he was beautiful the whole time.
But
Anyway, yes.
And I too love the song. I love the melody. I kind of like that it was kind of like an airy song. I like my ballads too, but I also like a good song that kind of has a little bit of some thump to it.
yeah,
So I kind of love that song for that reason.
yes.
I will say this. We're learning this. We're learning. I apologize. I didn't realize that. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't go yet. So I shouldn't have assumed that I was after Kevin because it was still kept. You could have said you wanted to go next. Anyway, we're working all this stuff out. So, next song.
So the next song is going to be for you, and it is by Anita Baker. Which song did you choose?
Yes, none other than 1994 from her album Rhythm of Love. The song is It's Been You. It's Been You all the time. And I have loved that song for many years, of course. And in growing up, it took me a while to sort of understand and experience certain things in love that many people experienced at an earlier age than myself. But in growing up, I realized like that it's been you is it's so beautiful. Talking like it's been you all the time. It's always been you. I didn't realize it before, but now I realize it's been you all the time. And I wanted to share this quick anecdote or this quick story, I guess, that there's this dude that I dated off and on from my early mid 20s up to 30. And 30, it got cut off because I blamed myself. And I was like, yeah, I remember talking with Kato at one of our friendly, enjoyable meals that we would have at Panera Bread and what have you. And yes, I'm telling that story. And I said, I told you about the dude, and I was like, yeah, when I got out of one of my relationships prior, there was a time that I was like, I wonder if it's been him all the time, and I've just been messing around, and now I'm wasting time, and I should have been saving myself for him. And what you said to me is, and I was like, yeah, and we were off and on from my early mid 20s up to 30, and you were like, well, honestly, Aaron, it didn't work out any of those times before, right? And I was like, no, but, and you were like, so it probably wouldn't have worked out later either. And I was like, Kato, you hate her, but yes, I understand. And even my best, I almost said his name, one of my best friends, he is very much that way too. He's like, if it didn't work out the first time, it's not going to work out the second time, period. And that's just tough love.
Tough love.
Like a good punch.
I love the song by Anita Baker as well. I love the just Anita Baker in general and just that jazz kind of feel that her music is. I don't know what the full genre is actually considered, but it just kind of feels like just jazz and just kind of like feel good music. And Her music always makes me feel good, even if it's like a sad song. The way she sings it is always enjoyable. What did you think about the song Basic Complexity?
I would say yes. I definitely like the song. Truth be told, I like just about everything Anita Baker does because yeah, I first started hearing her music because my mom would play her albums in our very long drives to my grandparents' house. It's like a 3 hour drive. But yeah, that's when I was really first introduced to Anita Baker, and I realized, yeah, I kind of like her. And then as I got well, I got into my 20s, and I ended up buying at the time, I guess it was a new album. Her was it called My Everything album, and yeah, I love that also.
Okay.
So
So
yeah.
3 for 3, all of us like the songs that we all picked this week.
It seems that way. And I wanted to say, FYI, My Everything is probably going to be one of my 2000s song one of these days, too. I love that
uh,
song. You're my everything. Anyway, yes. All right. So, and that was a great job wrapping that up, Kato, by the way. Hashtag more or less TV. And this, the subject of this more or less TV is Patti LaBelle, Queen Patti LaBelle. And the question, more or less, is sharing someone else's anything TV after they've passed away. Is it, well, more good may come outweighing any bad, or it's inherently less good and it's simply not your place? And we don't have to do those quick answers for it. I don't think that's necessary. But if nobody wants to speak up first, I'll go ahead and take it. If somebody wants to speak up first, you can. Three.
I would say definitely in regards to wow, Chris said this still, but the late Luther Vandross, um, when it came to him, in all honesty, and I mean a lot of people have already heard this before their stories about him, and I didn't care either way. It's like either he is or he's not, whatever. But on the other hand, I also never heard about him having a girlfriend, wife, whatever. And I didn't care if he was or wasn't. It didn't make a difference to me.
I will say it's both, right? And that's the Gemini in me speaking. It's both. Because, yes, Patti LaBelle is an ally, a gay ally, an ally in many, many ways. And she has a nephew son, who is also an open member of our community. And I I would like to think it would be cute if at some point in the past, perhaps, Patti LaBelle might have been trying to hook him up with Luther Vandross, and I'm like, that would be so cute because Luther Vandross is, yes, he's gorgeous, thick and thin, dark chocolate, my favorite, and he, I, I would like to imagine Patti LaBelle doing that thing and trying to hook them up and be like, you should see my son, because Luther Vandross is younger than Patti LaBelle, so chances are he and her nephew's son are not that far apart in age. And it would be cute. And yes, Luther Vandross is 6'4". I just wanted to throw that out there. But uh, I see, and maybe in her mind, she was like, it could help someone. And it could possibly help someone going through their Q plus journey to know that, hey, this superstar, Luther Vandross, is also queer, just like me. So maybe that was her thought for the greater good, and maybe as his friend, because they were actual close friends, she knew that he would see a benefit in helping the greater good of the community. And there are a lot of other artists who unfortunately have to live behind the wall of silence. I think we are coming out of that though, particularly now. I think the Khaled came out as uh, some type of queer, and I'm like, that's really cool. And anyway, but at the end of the day, I say it's his business. That's why I say it's both, because it's his business. And if he went to his grave with it, then that's the other side of that apple. That's that. Kato?
That's where I am too. It was his business. I think, although it could have been very helpful to a young person who was struggling with being queer to understand, to like to see an icon that is also queer, that's not the role he wanted to play in this world. And that was his prerogative. He's not required to be anyone's gay hero. And if he took that to his grave, or he only told the people that he told, but he didn't make it public to the world, I think it should have stayed that way. People would have always, or people probably were always like, is he or isn't he? But they should have kept doing that forever. Um, Nobody should have confirmed anything because that was his business, and he didn't want it out apparently. So I think that should be respected.
I agree. I do feel it could be both, though, because he. So let me ask you all this. Do we agree, or do we feel that it is a kind of greater good thing that she shared that information, and that it could have potentially helped someone who might have been dealing with it, even though he took it to his grave? Do we, well, of course we can't think, but maybe he had a conversation with Patti LaBelle before he passed away, and he's like, yes, I want my information out there, you know. And this is so complicated, but do y'all remember the group Intro with the beautiful lead singer Kenny Green?
Not really.
And to sort of help, Intro had a big hit in the mid early 90s by remaking Stevie Wonder's song Ribbon in the Sky, because Kenny Green sings his butt off and did an outstanding job singing that song
Mhm.
with his group mates. All of that to say, Kenny Green passed away before Luther Vandross, and he passed away from AIDS, right?
Hmm.
And he came out in the Sister to Sister magazine, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm actually bisexual." And it's like, I wonder, maybe Patti LaBelle had such a conversation with Luther Vandross, and Luther Vandross didn't come out to Sister magazine like Kenny Green, but maybe they had such conversations. And if they did, would you say that's fair?
In that case, I would say it was fair,
Yeah.
but I think it's important to preface whatever comment she made by saying, Luther Vandross wanted me to share this with you all, and then go. She didn't say that, so I'm assuming that he didn't say that. And I don't know that it's for the greater good. I really don't. I think I don't know. In this new generation, they're a little more headstrong than I feel like a lot of us were. They're coming out so much earlier. Um, there are 12 and 13-year-olds that are coming out of the closet. I would never
Yes.
have dreamed of doing that when I was 12 or 13 years old. I was like in there deep with the clothes and the coats and the hats and everything on top of me.
Society in general has become way more accepting of the homosexual community than it was. That I know for a fact.
And I think the younger generation is what's going to do it. We still have these old people that are still running the country, and they may not be on board. And I do think
Uh,
our our children are going to be on board. It's just going to take a little while. Got to get rid of the old and get in with the new.
You said getting in with what?
Get in with the
correct.
new, as in the younger kids.
Getting in you?
Getting out with the old and in with the new.
Okay. And you made me chuckle talking about the older people being in charge, because I remember I had a conversation with this one Uber driver who was like in his early 60s, and we got to something, and he was like, "Yeah, maybe I would make that change if I somehow got elected into Congress." And he was like, "But I'm a little too young for that." And I was like, "That's hilarious." But uh, uh, basic complexity is back. But yes, I I think it's, yes, this generation is different, and I think that's a good thing. And I think as millennials and older millennials that we may be, yes, that it can be hard for us to fathom that it is seen to some now, as it should have been seen this whole time, as just another person's life. They're just different. They don't love the same way that I love, but, and I know this is so cliche, but love is love, okay? And I think that's fine. And we didn't get that in our youth because, yes, I too was back there in the closet with the brooms and the clothing and all of that, whatever was kept in the closet. But yes, I, now people are starting to realize, and they're not completely there yet. They're not. But they have, young people have more of the verbiage for it. Like when we were kids, it it was just the hetero dudes that were able to have a crush on a girl, hetero boys having crushes on girls, and vice versa. but we didn't have language for that stuff.
Now, and they would be very public about it.
Yeah. So why can't somebody come out at 12 or 11 or 10? I
True.
remember one of my personal trainer dudes, like back when I was going to the gym in Cleveland, he was Gen Z, a Gen Z adult, and he was talking about how he's a twin, and while he's heterosexual, his twin brother actually came out to him when they were 8.
Mm,
So it's like people know, but it's just that society was so hard against us for
yes.
being gay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree. But at the end of the day, it's it's still your business if you want to come out. And if you decide to never come out, then that's that. Put a bow on it and bury it with him. And it should stay a secret. If that's how he lived his life, then that's how we should honor his death with his secret.
If they did not have that conversation,
They,
correct.
they didn't have that conversation.
Maybe they did. And I'll also say this, though. I'll also say this because, mm, 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 because maybe they did. And I believe Luther Vandross passed away in like what, if you know, correct me, but was it around 2003, 2004?
Wow, I didn't realize it was that long ago. I
It
don't know.
could
It
have been.
was.
I think
I
it
was in
was like
college.
Mm.
oh 05.
Yeah. And that works. But yes, yes. So it was that long ago. And
Yeah.
it was a different world back
Wow.
then. It was starting to get better. But if
Oh
Luther
05 was 20 years ago.
20 years ago and things were
Wow.
different back then, and if Patti LaBelle came out and said, Luther Vandross on his deathbed told me to come out and tell everybody that he was gay, that would not have been okay. People would have a problem with that. It wouldn't be a cute thing like, oh, Luther Vandross was actually gay and his friend told him that. There would be so much hate coming Patti LaBelle's way. Okay?
That's a huge understatement.
Do y'all agree? Well, basic complexity agrees. Kato, do you agree? Do you understand that point? Do you see that?
I don't think I do.
Oh. So, okay. Thank you for saying that. Because part of me is like, oh, we have to close this show. But I will take the time to clarify. Yes, if Patti LaBelle, so let's say that Luther Vandross and Patti LaBelle did have that conversation. And Luther Vandross was like, yes, Patti LaBelle, my friend, please tell the world that I'm gay. I could see Patti LaBelle reasonably back in 2005 being like, well, you know that I'm a gay icon and I love my gay fans and people are cool with that. If I told the world that you were gay, I would get a lot of hate for that. You don't see that, Kato?
No.
Not in 2005, because it's like, and this would drive me crazy when Tevin Campbell officially came out like uh, in an interview that a couple of years ago, and people were like, "Oh my gosh!" I mean, like I already knew that he was gay. Like, why is he even putting that in my face? Okay, I don't need to hear about that. Why are people telling me that he's gay? And it's like, eh, I remember one of the podcasts that I was listening to of some friends, and they were like, "Yeah, why is Devin hetero friends?" And they were like, "Why is Devin Campbell coming out? We all knew that he was gay, please." But it's because if Devin Campbell actually came out back then, you would not have been cool with it. People don't realize how much things have evolved. And now it's been a process of things evolving. Because if Tevin Campbell came out back then, trust me, you would have been like, why is he all up in my face with his homosexual ASS? Why? I don't have time for it. And as open as you are now, you would not have been that same way back then. And I, as a gay man, I would not have been comfortable with it way back then. Because I still remember when, I almost said bless his heart, but when Lance Bass came out in the early 2000s, and I was like, being a gay man that whole time, I, the back of my mind, part of me was like, ooh, why are you doing that thing? Why? Like, I don't even want to hear it. Like, just keep that to yourself. And I'm a gay man.
Well, 20 years ago in 2005, that just happened to be the year that I came out. I was 21 years old, and it was like the summer of my 21st year when I started coming out to everyone, and starting to live my life openly on purpose.
So let me say this about me, because yes, and I think that's so cool because yes, all three of us actually came out at 21, right? I came out to my mom when I was 21. And my mom passed away when I was 22. So I don't want to blame that as like, that's why I sort of stopped my coming out process. No, there were a lot of things that happened. But all of that to say the world was not fully ready to accept that. And if it came out like, oh, Luther Vandross is gay, the world would not have been ready to accept that back then. They would have been there would have been some people who were cool with it. Like my mom was totally cool. Like, and my mom passed away in 2006, and she was telling me that she's like, yeah, Aaron, I Luther Vandross is gay, probably, and there's nothing wrong with that. And Aaron, I want to let you know that there is absolutely nothing wrong with being gay. Wink, wink. And I was like, I don't know what you mean, because I was in the closet fighting myself about that. So I was like, what are you saying? Why? What? But the world was not where it is today. So that's why it was easier or more comforting to come out now and add to it. You know, just I forget the word, but when you just add on tonnage, you know, more and more people. Yes, yes, we're here. We're queer. Get used to it. Does it make sense now, Kato?
I mean, I still disagree with you, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay,
It
all
makes
right.
sense.
So we can close this episode. All right, hashtag Versity Feed family. Talk to y'all later. I'm Aaron Mack.
um, basic complexity.
And I am Cato.
Have a good night. Peace and blessings.